Vidal. Wentz fires too high, picked off, intercepted there by Mickens, and he brings it back to the 48-yard line.
Oh, Carson Wentz. Wow. I love Kevin O'Connell. I do. If you were watching this game last night on Amazon with Carson Wentz doubling over in pain, maybe a half dozen times minimum with a shoulder injury, non-throwing shoulder, but still quite the drama every single time he got hit, every single time he left the field. How did O'Connell leave him in the game last night? Now, the Vikings, that's a team whose season is unsalvageable, much more so than our team. A different kind of Football Friday for all of you today. I am in for the first hour, and then Doc will take over at 11 a.m. I have something that I've got to take care of, so Doc will be in today from 11 to 1. I've got smell test picks coming up in roughly 30 minutes or so. We'll go around the NFL a little bit. Our game, not until Monday night, so a full Sunday of other football, or maybe for some of you, it's, an opportunity to cross some things off the honeydew list, or, go to a pumpkin patch and take a hayride, or go antiquing. I don't know what you're going to do on Sunday with our team not playing. You've gotten used to it. We did this a couple of weeks ago, but there are some good games on Sunday, and a very intriguing Sunday night game, Packers at Steelers. Max will take us through some of those games in this hour of the show. Real quickly on last night's football game, yeah, Carson Wentz just flat out stinks. I mean, you can't win with Carson Wentz anymore. He doesn't see it. He was injured. Again, I don't know how they left him in the game. Minnesota is done. I was reading something this morning about Minnesota's schedule. If you didn't know this already, the Vikings have played already tied with New England, the easiest schedule this year, and they play the hardest schedule the rest of the season. They are 3-4. They're the only team in their division with a losing record. They're going to bring J.J. McCarthy back, and I think we've already seen McCarthy is a young player. He's going to take some time, and maybe he was the guy soft-benched, Max. Maybe there are some Viking fans that think he was soft-benched.
Those were the rumors at the time when he was going to get sat.
I think Charch actually used that term yesterday. He must have been listening to Sabah. The Vikings look to me like, of the teams that people thought might have a chance to compete for a postseason berth, they look done, and they have got to be absolutely distraught over the decision to let Sam Darnold go. Certainly could have brought Sam Darnold back. Then they could have had options with McCarthy or Sam Darnold. Now, here's a good question to, ask Viking fans. Would Darnold have signed to stay in Minnesota with J.J. McCarthy looming, and the yearning to see if they got it right with J.J. McCarthy? So there's a lot of that conversation, like Sam Darnold, they should have just kept Sam Darnold. Well, Sam Darnold had a choice in the matter. He was a free agent. He wanted to go somewhere where he was absolutely going to be given the opportunity to start and be the starter and the unquestioned starter, and that's where he is in Seattle, and that team's 5-2. And that team, by the way, surrounding cast, similar to Minnesota, if not better. So I think of all the loaded NFC, and it is loaded, 3-5-2 teams in the NFC West, actually, I think Tampa is the best team in the NFC South, but Carolina's sitting there at 4-3, Atlanta at 3-3, the NFC North with Green Bay, Detroit, Chicago having won 4 in a row, the NFC East with Dallas playing better. The Giants are, with 5 losses, I don't think they're going to get themselves back into the playoff mix, although had they won and kept that big lead in Denver, we may have been talking about that. Bunched up NFC, but I think we can cross one of the teams off the list that many thought would certainly be there contending for one of those 7 playoff spots late in the season. Man, there's been some great quarterbacking to watch this year, and then there are some standbys that you can count on to absolutely stink the joint out. and Carson Wentz is one of them. He just can't see it. He just can't see it. He's never been able to see it. And then he was out there playing injured last night. I don't know. Maybe Kevin O'Connell just said, I'm leaving the dude out there. Whatever. This is going to be it for him. We're going J.J. McCarthy the rest of the way. But the other guy, I don't know how the Jets actually are considering trotting Justin Fields back out there again on Sunday. But I think they are considering that.
They may not have a choice with Tyrod Taylor with that knee injury.
Justin Fields has played two of the worst football games for a starting quarterback that I've ever seen back to back.
It's been bad.
It's so bad. It's so bad that Woody Johnson, the owner, who's a terrible owner, and they have these issues with quarterbacks all the time, but yeah, it's not good. I want to read. I wanted to mention two other quick things. Number one is that Jacoby made that Hall of Fame senior list reduction down to 26. Come on, Jake. Let's get him in this particular way through the senior route. That's number one. Number two is that, who does a phenomenal job, and I don't think I've talked about it enough over the years. And I don't know if people thought maybe early on he was a bit of a caricature to a certain degree. Brian Windhorst for ESPN is so good. He is such a great reporter, such a great communicator. And I'm telling you, nobody communicated the indictment on Chauncey Billups, Terry Rozier, etc. from this case yesterday better than he did. I'm just always so impressed with Windhorst. I know that early on it was like he's LeBron's guy. He wouldn't be, on the air. He wouldn't have this job if he hadn't have been LeBron's friend. No, he has certainly made a place for himself with outstanding talent, work ethic, the whole thing. I think he's just a phenomenal communicator. And, listening to this thing, you really just, you have to separate these things, right? The Chauncey Billups thing is really separate for the most part from the Terry Rozier thing and the Damon Jones thing, and there are other players. Chauncey Billups was involved in rigged poker games, which the mafia was a part of, okay? That is not something I don't think that the NBA is worried about, other than the fact that, hey, Chauncey, Hall of Famer, fine, you're never, ever, if you're convicted of this, going to be anywhere near our league. Now, he also was involved in the dissemination of information relative to injuries, which really more so than anything else, in the allegations against Chauncey Billups, Damon Jones, and many other players. Rozier's different. Talk about that in a second. Really what the overriding, significant charge is, not necessarily, basically tapping out of games so that unders hit. Real quickly, basketball's the easiest game to rig because there's so few players and so few players can impact a game. I mean, you get to one player or, it doesn't even have to be the best player. And that player's impact on the game is much greater than a football player. Now, if you've got the quarterback, it's different, or a baseball player or a hockey player. It's just different because you've got 5 players on the floor at one time. You get to one of them and you can significantly impact the game. And then unders on prop bets. For those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, there are prop bets on players every single night. So as an example with Terry Rozier, over under 16.5 points. He can control the under by not scoring more than 16, by tapping out of a game with a fake injury after he has scored 6 or 7 points. He gives that information to bettors and says, bet the under on all of my prop bet numbers, my point total, my assist total, my rebound total, because I'm tapping out. And that's essentially what happened with Terry Rozier. So there is that part of it that is, involved in what got, the news that got broken yesterday. But Rozier was looked into for a game back in March of 2023, even before this. But what was really focused on with the allegations was the distribution of information well in advance related to players who were going to play or not play due to injury. This is something that Windhorst described as a hole that the NBA's been trying to fix. They've been trying to force teams to give that information early enough in the day so that odds makers can adjust the point spread accordingly. But Chauncey Billups was actually accused of doing this as well, as was Damon Jones and several other players, of giving bettors and selling injury information on game day. That was the big part of it. The Billups' big issue, though, is he was involved in rigged poker games. You can read through the highlights of the indictment, just how they do rig the games. X-ray machines, fake a shuffling machine that works. I've played poker. I've actually gotten into it more so in the last year. I kind of missed the wave. But basically, they roped dudes into games in Vegas and in LA that were rigged, and the Mafia was a part of that with Chauncey Billups. They used Chauncey Billups as a big name to lure players to these games, and they built roughly $7 million through rigged poker games. Of course, he could go to jail for that. He is, for the distribution of injury information, that is another part of the allegation against Chauncey Billups. But the poker stuff is separate. That the NBA, other than, saying you're banned from the NBA, they didn't have anything to do with that. They do have to fix the issue of injury information and how it gets distributed publicly and the timing of that. By the way, the 2 NBA games last night, I know nobody's watching, but the Thunder opened up their season with back-to-back double overtime wins. They opened up the other night with a double overtime win in their first game of the season. Who did they play the other night? I'm forgetting now. Who did they open up with the other night?
The Rockets.
The Rockets, thank you. They won that game in double overtime. And then last night, they beat Indiana in double overtime. No team has ever opened up the season with 2 double overtime games. In the game last night, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, SGA, the MVP from last year, had 55 points. By the way, Aaron Wiggins, Terp fans, big game for him, had 23, was on fire from behind the arc. And then in the late game, that went to overtime as well. And the Warriors beat the Nuggets 137-131. The 2 NBA nights on back-to-back nights on ESPN, kicking off the new era of, Ernie, Chuck, Kenny, Shaq. Man, they had some games to talk about. All right, I wanted to read this. It comes from Randall. Randall writes, Kevin, I'm a sports psychologist, and while fan behavior isn't my specialty, I know psychologically damaged fan bases when I see them. Nothing exemplifies the damage done by Dan Snyder to the Commanders Redskins fan base more than the sudden turn by many against the GM, coach, and QB. Last year was actually an uncomfortable place and something called trauma bonding. That's what's occurring right now. It's a form of Stockholm syndrome where for many Washington fans, they are finding it difficult to engage in behavior that will release or detach themselves from their abuser. This is great, Randall. I don't know if you're really a sports psychologist, but I love this so far. This is why you've heard from so many fans who have taken the first sign that last year was a fluke, was abnormal, and used it as a reason to embrace an abusive past, which became their norm. Thought this would help. Randall, I guess, responding to a lot of the conversation this week about, Adam Peters is, he stinks. Dan Quinn stinks. The quarterback has regressed so much. They got the wrong guy at number 2. And he calls this trauma bonding. I've never heard of this, but it's a form of Stockholm syndrome, which I have heard of. That's where you sympathize, right, with your captor.
Yes.
Yes. And he says, Washington fans are finding it difficult to engage in behavior that will release or detach themselves from their abuser. This is why you've heard from so many fans who've taken the first sign that last year was a fluke, was abnormal. They're embracing their abusive past because it became their norm. I read this last night, and I've used this analogy before about what we all went through together as fans of this team, and I've said we were institutionalized, like Shawshank Redemption institutionalized. When Red, said when he was talking about Brooks Hadlin, these walls are funny. First you hate them, then you get used to them. Enough time passes, you get so you depend on them. That's institutionalized. And that's it. As a fan base, we're not doing well right now with our freedom. We got released, and we feel like we still need, we still need to ask our boss if it's okay to go to the bathroom. That's kind of where we are right now. We have our freedom with Josh Harris, a good, supportive, outside group, ready to help us. Adam Peters, Dan Quinn, Jaden Daniels. And they've already done so much to help us adapt to this new world outside the walls. They gave us a massive reason to party last year that we were out. We were finally out of this dark cave. Some of you have, held back. You waited for the party to kind of, die down a bit so you could say, yeah, I knew it wouldn't last. I knew it couldn't last. Put me back in my cell. I just want to polish rocks. Isn't that what Andy Dufresne was doing? Was it for a chessboard? I think it was.
Correct.
No. Andy Dufresne, remember, said to Red, hope is a good thing. Remember, hope is a good thing, maybe the best of things. And he, signed off on that letter that he left in that main, hillside field by that big oak tree. He said, I hope this letter finds you well. No, it's not finding many of you well. A lot of you aren't well yet. You're just going to have to figure out how to get through a rough 7-game patch. It's 7 games. There's some truth in this. There is some PTSD. There is some damage that is coming to the fore here in this first adversity moment. By the way, last year I remember I talked a lot about, Jaden as we were going through the season, and he was just checking one box after another, throws with anticipation, reads defenses, scrambles when he has to, can run, can throw, deep throw, touch throw, medium throw, short throw, everything. Last, game-winning moments, yes, Cincinnati, check the box. Comeback wins, yes, check the box. And I remember saying, let's see how he handles that first, multi-game losing streak where everybody's looking at him and blaming him. And they did have a 3-game losing skid last year, but it really wasn't on him. I think we knew at that point the only chance out of the 3-game losing skid was him. And then it was about, can he do it in a big game that matters? Well, he did it against the Falcons late in the year, the Eagles late in the year, and then 2 playoff road wins where he was the reason more than anybody else was that the team won. But I actually think right now is the moment in which he is facing the most adversity. He is being questioned from an injury standpoint. Is this going to be the life we lead with Jaden Daniels? Perhaps, in and out of the lineup, year in and year out. I think that's the biggest and most legitimate concern at this point. Actually, for me, the only legitimate concern. I'm not concerned about anything that he's doing as a quarterback. 2 weeks ago against the Chargers, we thought he had played at an elite level after the first 2 drives. I mean, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt was going to push for NFC Rookie of the Year after that game. Trey Amos, going back to, summer. Remember all the talk about the secondary over the summer? That's why the training camp days and these preseason games are completely worthless to spend any real time obsessing over. They mean nothing. What matters over the summer are injuries, holdouts. That mattered. Everything else is a joke. the biggest storyline coming out of training camp was, oh my God, we got a secondary. Last year, that was a problem. This year, not going to be a problem. But look, come on, people. Wake up. Dan is gone. He's gone. We've got adults in charge. This is a real organization. And the new GM and the new head coach, if you want to just look at results and nothing else, 17-10, 2-1 in the postseason. That's their one season. How could you question that? If you weren't willing to give them the benefit of the doubt before last year, I think you should really consider doing it after the first year that they had. 14-5, 2-1 in the postseason. I am, not blindly. I think I've got a lot of good reasons beyond the record that supports giving them the benefit of the doubt. You know, it starts with the culture, which is turned around much faster than anybody thought it could turn around, right? I mean, players and coaches actually want to come here. Remember Ben Standig's annual agent survey from over the summer? He does it. It's such a great, survey that he does with NFL agents. I pulled some of the quotes from that annual agent survey about Washington, about Adam Peters. Washington is the most stable organization from top to bottom in the NFL. That's a quote from an NFL agent about our organization. Another quote, they emphasized culture and character. And I don't mean that just with the players, but with the front office and the coaching staff as well. Everyone talks about family these days, right? Every company's a family. You can never truly have a genuine family dynamic with a team because it's a business. But I think that Adam and the guys have done the best job in the league of really trying to put that together and create that. Another quote, I know it's only one season, but I think what Adam Peters has done and what I think he's going to continue to do, I think the culture that he's building is going to sustain success for a long time. Closed quote. That was just 2 months ago. 2 weeks ago, as I mentioned, Krosky Merritt, Trey Amos, Jaden's back. What'd you say, Max? Jaden was back. Slow start. A-level, game after the slow start for Jaden. Defense even looked acceptable. And this culture that they have created, you've got to trust that this tough stretch, lots of injuries. Truth is, one fumble away from being 4-3 against the Bears. And I think the hysteria would be dialed way back, because you could then say, well, look, we didn't have a starting receiver in the Dallas game. And the defense would still be a concern. But that fumble combined with what happened in Dallas made things seem, awfully dark right now. I can't sell you on a Monday night upset. I can tell you that. I cannot sell you on that. But I can hang on to what they've created and being able to look it in the face, this adverse period, and overcome it, and come out on the other side looking much better. It's possible that this will be a year over a sustained run of success that was just problematic because of all the injuries. It's possible that this year doesn't turn around. But I think all they got to do is win 3 of the next 4. All they got to do. Big challenge, no doubt. And be 6-6 heading into December. And then everything's back on the table. You don't have to be good now. You have to hang in there now. So that if you do get healthier, if you do become a better team, you can play games that are meaningful in December and January. I don't think that's off the table. I can sell you on that. I can't sell you on Monday night, though. That's for sure. Smell test when we come back. So last week, 5-5-1 on my smell test picks. That's the first non-winning week of the season. 7 straight winning weeks, winning record weeks, and then a 500 week. I understand you lose money when you go 500 in sports betting. Yeah, I'm familiar with that. But I said correction coming at some point. If the correction is a 5-5-1 week, we'll take that. All right, let's start tomorrow. Oklahoma's laying 5.5 against an Ole Miss team that lost last week in that great game against Georgia. I think people still believe in Ole Miss, and they're really unsure about Oklahoma and the offense, although Mateer was a bit better last week. Oklahoma is very nasty defensively. That's a big number. The public's playing the dog in this game. I'll take the Sooners and lay the 5.5. UCLA's been on a roll. They've won 3 in a row with their new coach, their new offensive coordinator, Heisel's son. They beat the Terps last week for their 3rd straight. They knocked off Penn State, remember, a few weeks ago to get it started. They're playing Indiana, the number 2 team in the country. Indiana's laying 26. This is another game in which the average bettor thinks it's too many points. They're taking UCLA. I'll take Indiana and lay the 26. Iowa's laying a huge number at home against Minnesota. Minnesota's a 5-2 football team. They've played well recently. They beat Nebraska last week, beat Purdue. They've won 3 out of the last 4. Iowa is playing better, but they barely hung on to beat Penn State. This is another favorite that I'm giving you. Iowa minus the 9. The public's playing the Gophers plus the 9. I hate giving out favorites. Vanderbilt is become, Diego Pavia and the Vanderbilt team is a public darling now, and they are a good football team. And LSU, a good defensive team, couldn't stop them. So why are they only a 3-point favorite at home against Mizzou? I'll take Mizzou plus the 3. And then Cincinnati's been on a roll. Really good football team. They're laying a short number at home against Baylor. The number is 4. I'll take Baylor. And then Miami after they lost last week, and Stanford after they beat Florida State. Miami's a 30-point favorite. I'll take the Canes there. Let's go to Sunday. That Sunday was the problem last week, Sunday and Monday night. I was 5-1-1 in college and then 0-4 in the NFL. And I've given you some bad football teams that have covered. Last week, the bad football teams did not cover. Last week was an absolute monster week for the public bettor. Favorites overall were 12-3 straight up, and all of the biggest public favorites all covered. Carolina covered. I gave out the Jets last week. The Patriots covered. I gave out Tennessee. Chicago covered. A lot of people, I didn't give out New Orleans, but I was close to giving out New Orleans. The Monday night game, everybody was on Seattle. Houston, I gave that out. That didn't get home. A lot of the big-time public favorites covered last week. It's not going to move me off my mark, my formula for looking for the games in which most of you think the line is wrong, and I'm going to go the other way, along with, some information. So here's the weirdest line of the week. The 49ers on a roll. They come in playing Houston, who's banged up at wide receiver. No Kirk, no Nico Collins, and the Texans are favored at home against the 49ers. They're a 2-point favorite. I'll take the Texans. They're a major anti-public favorite. I'm giving out too many favorites. I'm going against New England again. They've become a major public betting darling, and they've delivered here recently. They're giving 7 to the best defensive team they've faced all year long, Cleveland. I'll take the Browns plus the 7. Am I going to do it again with the Jets, Max? Yes, the Jets plus the 7 at Cincinnati. And then the Saints may be the biggest anti-public play on the board. They're getting 4 at home against Tampa Bay. So Oklahoma, Indiana, Iowa, Missouri, Baylor, and Miami on Saturday. The Texans, Browns, Jets, and Saints on Sunday. Steven Spector from Kansas City to talk about the Chiefs next. Joining me right now, Steven Spector. You guys remember Steven. He's been on the show before to talk Chiefs. Steven worked with us back at 980 for many years until he left for Kansas City sometime around 2014, 2015, I think, Steven, somewhere around there. And he is the program director and a talk show host at Sports Talk The Fan 96.5 in Kansas City. You can follow Steven on X, on Twitter, at Steven Spector 10. Let me just start with this, because I think the whole league is talking about it after one of the more lopsided box score wins I've ever seen against the Raiders on Sunday, but 4 out of the last 5, 2 straight, including the game a week ago Sunday against the Lions at Arrowhead. And now everybody has come to the conclusion that as the team's gotten healthy, Kansas City, once again, is the team to beat and the team that will represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. Is that what you guys think?
That's the dominant conversation here. And the prevailing thought is, yes, that this is the favorite to come out of the AFC. And I think it's twofold. One, you mentioned they are 4-3, but the rest of the NFL seems like they're 4-3.
Yeah.
I mean, the Bills now have 2 losses. The Chargers are 4-3 and going on the wrong direction. The Broncos are 5-2, but that's a miraculous 5-2 after narrowly escaping the 2 New York teams. You're not really scared of anybody in the AFC North. Yeah, the Colts are 6-1, but if the playoffs started today and Daniel Jones and the Colts were taking on Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, I think the prevailing thought would be, the Chiefs are the better team. So in a muddled AFC, the Chiefs are certainly playing the best football in going into Week 8. Yes, that's true. The second part is, and the conversation that's happening now here in Kansas City is, despite a 15-2 last year, that was not a very good Chiefs team. And it was not an enjoyable watch. They got, let's call it what it is, a little bit lucky at the end of games, but that was a flawed roster with not a lot of good offensive weapons and a good defense. And now all of a sudden the Chiefs have a good defense and what appears to be now the best offense in football. They made all these investments in Rashee Rice in the second round a couple years ago. Xavier Worthy last year in the first round. They signed Hollywood Brown. Up until last week, they'd never played together. It took 14 months for those 3 wide receivers to play together. And now that you have those 3 guys, you add in Juju, Kelsey doesn't have to be the main focus point. The offensive line, a little bit banged up going into Monday night against the Commanders is off to a great start. This is now back to an offense that we saw in 2018, 2019, 2020, where if you are not going to score 28 points against the Chiefs, you are not in the conversation of winning against them. So to answer your question, I think they should be the AFC favorites. That doesn't mean they're going to win, but right now they're playing the best football in the AFC.
Yeah, you answered my next question, and I thought the answer would be that this is a much better team this year in terms of their potential because of the offensive, weaponry now than it was last year. Josh Simmons was that first-round picked after, by the way, Washington selected Josh Connerly Jr. At tackle as well. And there's a really odd story about your first-round pick from Ohio State. Tell everybody about it.
Yeah, so this is a guy who, if you listen to the draft experts, would have been picked in the top 10 if he's healthy, but he had a weird knee injury at Ohio State last year, and he fell to the Chiefs at the final pick of the first round. Wasn't expected to be the starter, wasn't expected to be ready by training camp, and all of a sudden he was, and he was their best offensive lineman from the jump. And Kevin, you'll understand this reference. A lot of people think he's like a young Trent Williams. And you remember how good Trent was
from
in the early days in Washington. Yeah. There are a lot of Trent Williams comparisons to Josh Simmons. And a couple weeks ago, they were going into that Monday night game against Jacksonville, and all of a sudden he popped up with a questionable with an illness. And then he was a no-show on Sunday night against the Lions, and obviously did not play this last Sunday morning against the Raiders. And they're just saying it's a family situation. There's no information out there. He's not with the team, but the expectation is he's certainly not going to play on Monday night. I mean, unless something happens in the next 24 to 48 hours before Andy Reid speaks. But the Chiefs are certainly without their dominant left tackle. Now, they've replaced him with the guy that they made a splash with in the offseason in Jalen Moore, so they're good at left tackle. They're certainly not weak there, but they're not at their full strength without their first-round pick.
Is it one of the things, so people don't know exactly what it is specifically, but is it an AWOL situation? I mean, did he just leave the team, or is this excused?
I truthfully don't know the answer to that. The media doesn't know the answer to that, but if you were to poll people here, it would skew towards AWOL, unexcused absence. But that is not a confirmed opinion. That is what the media believes to be.
Strange situation, because he really did start off like a house of fire. And I was actually, Washington had the opportunity to draft him, and I'm wondering if, something that's going on in his life right now, and you pray for him, and if it's a family situation, if it's a personal situation, you want it to work out. But I'm wondering if that's one of those things that maybe it's the reason he fell a little bit further in the draft than a lot of people thought. Who knows? All right.
Yeah, there were rumblings about, the dreaded word character concerns going into the draft, but nobody really ever uncovered a issue with the law or issue with teammates. And so maybe it ties back something into that. But the reason he really slipped in the draft is he had a knee injury that is uncommon in the NFL. And that's mostly why he slipped. But again, I'm not in the inside of those draft rooms where they know every piece of information, but that could certainly be one of those causes that had him, fall out of the top 10 to number 32 overall.
Have you guys been talking in Kansas City this week about how bad Washington is defensively?
No, because after that, there's 24 hours of I've never seen anybody beat another NFL team like that.
Yep.
That was Monday's conversation. Tuesday was much more about the Chiefs are the best team in the AFC West, and this is the best team that they've had in a number of years. Honestly, the focus has not even really started on Washington due to it being Monday night.
Yeah,
and,
sure.
the NFL schedule is a little bit weird, but it's mostly been about the Chiefs are back and the national conversation surrounding the Chiefs. So our focus on the Commanders hasn't even really started at the moment.
So
outside of J.D. Daniels being hurt, obviously, that that goes without saying.
Right. They are right now a horrendous defensive football team, especially if you look at every opponent they've played that's had capability offensively. It's been a nightmare, as it was on Sunday against a really good offensive team in Dallas. So one more question about the offense, because you've told us a lot about it already. With Rice and Worthy and Hollywood Brown and Smith-Schuster, the key, though, was Rice, right? Like getting Rashee Rice back is a game changer for that offense.
Absolutely. But the other game changer is Xavier Worthy. And we saw this. There was a lot of panic here through the first 3 weeks of the season. Rashee Rice is out. They suspended for the first 6 weeks for some off-field incidents 2 years ago. But Xavier Worthy coming into year 2. And then all of a sudden, on the third play of the season, he runs into Travis Kelce, and they lose their top weapon.
Yep.
They then struggle to score against Philadelphia. They barely beat the Giants. And then all of a sudden, he comes back, and they haven't scored less than 30 points since Xavier Worthy's return. So there's some precursor to getting Rashee Rice back. Now, Rashee Rice is the better wide receiver. I would rather have Rashee Rice than Xavier Worthy, but the combination of what those two guys do on the field, Worthy being the burner, but still a great receiver down the field, stretching the defense, and Rashee Rice doing all the dirty work underneath, the run after the catch stuff. The two of them complement each other, and then Juju and Hollywood Brown and Travis Kelce all play off of those two guys. So, again, we got to see 4 weeks of it last year with Rice and Worthy on the field. We got to see it for basically one half of football against the Raiders because they called off the Dogs in the third quarter. So it'll be interesting to see how those two play with each other, but I think it's 1A and 1B between Worthy and Rice about who's the most important guy.
Sticking with the offense, actually, does Jawan Taylor, how many penalties does he have a game? Your right tackle. I mean, by the way, the only reason we know that is because every NFL fan gets to see the Chiefs basically every week. But it is amazing to me how many times he either lines up, too far back or false starts.
Yep. So he had a number of issues in week 1 in Brazil. Matt Nagy, the offensive coordinator, said, we're going to address it. They didn't have any issues in week 2 or 3. Then he had issues in week 4, and he said, all right, this time I'm going to address it. And they haven't had any Jawan Taylor issues in the last 3 weeks. So
really,
I guess they just need to keep reminding him that you need to stay on sides, you need to stop holding. But listen, the guy's been the most penalized offensive lineman in the league for over half a decade. So he has a penalty problem, but he is currently on a pretty good 3-week streak of keeping it quiet.
Yeah, I'm pulling up the numbers. So good 3-week stretch. He's still second in the league in total penalties against. On the Raider game, I talked about this on the show either yesterday or on Monday. I've never seen a box score look like that. I mean, you were, witness to the game start to finish. I know the Raiders.
I turned it off in the third quarter. Once Gardner Minshew comes in, I'm on to red zone in the witching hour.
That 30-3 first downs, 400 yards to 80 or whatever, 77 plays to 30 plays. So in talking about that game, what was the conversation? I'm assuming there were I was looking for some level of information regarding records set, and I couldn't really find it, but I've never seen a box score in an NFL game that looked like that.
We've seen scores where, like I'm thinking about the Dolphins and Broncos 2 years ago, where it was like 70 to 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever it was. But I remember watching that game. It was like, it's not like the Dolphins or the Broncos didn't belong. Like, it's still 2 NFL teams, still, guys moving the ball up and down the field. It was like varsity versus JV on Sunday morning. I mean, one of our afternoon hosts said Ohio State basically could have done what the Raiders did on Sunday, and nobody thinks that any college team could compete with an NFL team. But that Raiders team looked as disinterested and as heartbroken as you could possibly look as a professional football player. Then you lose Max Crosby, and Jacoby Myers isn't playing. Brock Bowers was ruled out earlier in the week. It was never good from the get-go, but I've never seen a team as inept as they were offensively. Defensively, you can say what you want. The Chiefs were, rolling on all cylinders. They get Rashee Rice back. But really offensively, I've never seen a worse performance from an NFL team as I did from the Raiders on Sunday. It was just pathetic.
All right, tell me what Washington gets to go up against offense against the Chief defense. Obviously, it's no Jaden Daniels in the game, but I've loved this Karlaftis since they drafted him. Tell me about, the players and the kind of defense Kansas City's playing this year.
Yeah, the weakness for the Chiefs team, if you're talking about the weakness of the 53-man roster, is pass rush. They have not been great this year, and Karlaftis has been fine, and Chris Jones is getting double-teamed a lot, but they do not put a lot of pressure on the quarterback. So if you're looking for a glimmer of hope, if you're a Commanders fan, it's maybe Marcus Mariota has a little bit more time to make the right decision. And, if McLaurin and Debo are back and, Krosky Merritt's got a little bit of time or, to make his cuts and the running game gets going and Mariota can use his legs, that's a glimmer of hope if you're looking for something offensively. But the secondary is good. The linebackers are playing great. They made a switch with their safeties a couple weeks ago. So secondary and linebackers are not where you're going to get the Chiefs. Where you're going to get the Chiefs is good protection from your offensive line, double teaming Chris Jones, keeping Karlaftis off him. But if you don't get pressure, you can make some plays in the passing game. So if Mariota is able to do that, that's a recipe and a route for success. But again, it starts at 28 points, and if you don't think Marcus Mariota and the Commanders are putting up 28 points, it's really a dead issue.
Yeah, that's 28 against a normal defense. That's my biggest concern going in as well. So you've just summed it up. 28 from Washington, where they have no shot, unless we get one of those crazy turnover games. And Washington's created the fewest turnovers of any team in the league, not named the Jets so far. So, and you guys don't turn it over, right? For the most part.
Patrick Mahomes, I think, has 2 interceptions for the season. They don't really fumble the ball. I'm knocking on wood as I say all these things. So, yeah, it would take it happened in Jacksonville a couple weeks ago where a couple turnovers ended up coming back to bite the Chiefs. So if that happens, all bets are off in any NFL game. But keeping the ball is one of the strengths of the Chiefs offense for sure.
By the way, here's a question. Harrison Butker, and it started kind of last year, correct me if I'm wrong, but he's not the kicker that he was a few years ago.
Nope. They held him back against the Raiders this past weekend, but he has had a mistake in 5 of 6 games. And those mistakes, you can point directly to a couple of those 3 losses. So he has certainly not been, it's not a distance issue. It has been an accuracy issue. So he's still good from 50 plus, but you're talking about an extra point here or a chip shot there. It's no longer an automatic done deal.
Steven Spector, everybody. Yes, the guy that was on the air with me producing the day that the earthquake hit in August of 2011. That means we'll have a 15-year anniversary coming up this summer that we will celebrate together. I'll call you to remind you of that. Always good to catch up. Hope things are well. Enjoy the game Monday night.
Appreciate it, Kevin. Thanks for having me as always.
All right, that is it for me today. Doc's going to take over here in the final 2 hours. He's next.
Y'all know what that music means.
The marvel of technology. We could go from Coach Sheehan and morph it to the DOC. My brother Sheehan. What the first hour, you hope you got all your wagering and stuff done because for example, I'm going winner take all. But Sheehan did a great job. He got you hooked up, and he's off to a great start with his pro picks, college picks, the whole 9 yards. But that's my brother. And I love what he does because he goes against the trends, and that's a good thing. But one thing I love about Kev is that he may carve a little bit off the top with the wagers and all that, but he's about winning.
He's a winner.
He's a winner. Oh, he's a champion. And what he wants more than anything else is to win the game that his favorite team is participating in. And as we know, that's slim pickings for the most part the last 20 years or so. But it doesn't mean we don't fight. Now, I'm in a relief pitcher category right now. Of course, I'm coming in, trying to hit the gun at 103. I'm coming out the pen. I'm surrounded by a Cowboy fan who I respect because he took a lot of abuse. And this is Brother Reed. You see him right now.
A lot is putting it mildly, Doc.
Now, and I think he's in camera too. He's acting like he don't know how to do this just so he can get more camera time. See, I love nice move.
He's
nice
getting you set up. He's doing what I could.
No, that's a smooth move. He's smooth though. The one thing about him, even though they haven't won anything since I had an afro, but yet he still maintains
his composure.
Yeah, he's smooth.
Oh,
he's smooth.
Trust me. Every day he walks in here,
he never ever looked as if he was panicked last week.
No, he wasn't. He was, and that's partially my fault. I didn't make him as uncomfortable as I probably should have.
I tried not to mess with it, brother, because I was going. I've seen Dakota. It's regular season. I ain't playing Dak.
Listen, man.
Dak.
7-0 at home against this team in his career.
Yeah, and he usually has one stud outside. He's got two now. 3 got a very decent tight end.
Pickens is crazy.
They're awesome in the regular season. It's a bad wager.
Second the weather gets cold, though.
Yeah,
it's like the Dolphins.
No, it's okay. It's his time now.
You're right. I got to let him bask in the moment. You're right.
And I'm going, hey, man, congratulations. I've had, my Cowboy buddies, Derek Davis. He's just so funny. Clarence Goldsboro, hey, man, you hail to the victor. I'm not mad whatsoever.
I'm a little mad. Upset is the word, but the issues are the issues, and they've presented themselves, and now it's about fixing them. And can this team move forward and fix them? I don't have a lot of faith, but that's why we play the games, man.
Yeah, interesting week. I look at it and I go, you should not be embarrassed to have lost to Dallas.
It's a division rival. Anything happen?
You should be embarrassed to have given up points. Before you start screaming and hollering, this is not Linnell. So it's not going to be. You can't.
No, we're analytical here, not emotional.
You can't provoke me. I'm a Lattimore guy. Let me put any of you out here who will ridicule this young man, and let me put you on a guy taller than you, just as fast, if not faster than you, and have Dakota Prescott.
And then you have to run backwards to cover.
Dropping the ball right down his coat pocket.
Yeah.
And Shaq Harris and Doug Williams know this because Doug schooled me. Shaq told me the story. The thing about him, his goal was to drop the ball down into that lapel part on the blazer. And I was like, I never heard that.
In the little pocket square?
Right in the pocket square.
Mm-hmm.
Shaq said that was his deal. And that was Doug. Doug would talk about that. So it's a true story. Dakota, I'm telling you.
He's playing at MVP level right now, Doc.
But it's not anything new.
It's true.
It's not like he hadn't done this before.
It's true. But giving him that second option that he can just kind of default to with Pickens.
Yeah.
Even CD being out, he's still got that guy that he can just be like, he's down there somewhere. Let's get it up.
Well, it's going to be interesting. And this week, it's almost like they got a break. When you come off, and we talked rivalry, but I don't really know if these kids look at it as a rivalry. Some of us long in the tooth looked at it as a rivalry. I'm not certain that these youngsters think of it that way. But nothing better could have happened to you than to now play the Chiefs. What better game do you want than to be playing the Chiefs?
I don't know, man. I'd like this one to be a little bit easier.
No. If they were playing Miami.
Sure, yeah. The Jets.
And they lost, we'd have to be on 24-hour alert. We'd have to call in special services.
Madrid,
FBI, we had to call it.
Madrid's coming quick.
There's nothing you can do despite when you're playing a champion. Now, nobody other than friends and family and relatives can publicly say they think the Commanders will win the game. You can do that because you're a relative, you're emotionally tied into it.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a gun being pointed at your brain, or you just don't know anything about football. Very easy. It could be any one of those categories. But that big guy, BTP, I can't wait to get Chris Russell's pick on this.
Oh boy,
I'm really curious about where Cockadoodle-Doo.
He's got his dueling super six packs coming up later today too.
That's right. Well, he's the originator.
Of course,
he's the guy that
he started it all.
He started it all, and because he doesn't promote it every 15 seconds like that other guy does,
mm-hmm.
the other guy's kind of influenced the public to the point where they think it's not his.
Listen, you repeat something long enough, people will eventually credit you.
Oh, he repeats it a lot.
Oh, he repeats it plenty.
Yeah, if you want to get, what do you say, when we get with me, obviously we
continue the
don't.
conversation with me on Twitter.
Yeah, if we did, we would have already done it. Don't you get the hint? We're really not interested, but anyway.
Listen, he gets people fired up. I'm not gonna lie, his Twitter mentions are something.
Yeah.
Depends on the day, though.
That exhibition he put on Monday, that was that was comical. But I do like this, that suppose they have the game of their life. Now, what Washington would have to do is do some things we haven't seen.
Yeah.
Like set the edge, like pressure the quarterback, like tackle better. So are we saying all of that's going to go on display against a better team?
Well, I mean, Quinn said it yesterday. He said to expect better play, but he didn't really say anything about like changes or anything. In fact, I kind of want to play it if you want. Let's do it.
It's a novel idea. Sure.
So you said you're going to look at everything on defense. Will we see any changes on defense?
I think what you'll see is improved play. I think that's, obvious that we want to dig in. So when we wanted to look and assess to where we needed to make change and make adjustments, sometimes they're not these big overhauls, John, that make the major improvement. It's these small calibrations and adjustments. And so that is definitely underway. As we get out of practice today, I'm looking forward to seeing the speed. We're trying to eliminate the hesitation, and we will do that.
So where do you think this hesitation that Dan Quinn is referencing, where do you think that comes from, Doc? Is it like a self-preservation thing, or is it just, I want to preserve my body and kind of move forward? I know this is football.
I don't think they're saving anything.
Yeah.
It's a lack of confidence.
Mm-hmm.
They can't possibly be afraid to make a mistake as many of them as they make.
Right.
I mean,
clearly
this is like you're at the mall and you see a parent with the kids and you can already tell who's in charge.
Mm-hmm.
Kids out in the middle of the mall telling her no.
Mm-hmm. Running around doing circles, cartwheels. Yeah. He's the one running the show.
Youngest in charge. That's usually the perfect example.
Sure,
when you see a brat showing his behind off somewhere, that's what I think of when I hear youngest in charge. Because that means that if the young person is in charge, that's somewhere you don't want to be.
It's true.
Where do you want to be where toddlers controlling things? This team needs to play with more confidence. And it's hard when you come from the motivational peak of success university. This is not supposed to be the way it goes. That's why you have DQ as your head coach. And then we went through the camp. We've already done all this. The question is, if the people aren't doing the job properly, here's the $1 million question. Why are they in the game? That's what I pose to you. If you can answer that for me here today, a 301-230-0980, I'd be much obliged. I'm confused as to why repeat offenders would be involved in anything.
Because they don't think they have anybody better, and so they think it's
No,
just they chalk it up to.
So you're saying that they're really not capable evaluators?
I'm not saying that.
Well, wait, hold on. Yes, you did. You just said that. You sound like that young guy now. BTP. They picked them. Nobody forced these people on them.
Yeah,
It was their draft board. It was their scouts doing it. Correct
Sure.
me if I'm wrong. All of this is done deliberately by them. So then you're saying you got who you wanted, and now you can't put a cynic. He can't get in a game, can't get a pass thrown to him. Second round pick, Slim. I don't care who you are. That is not piling on. That's a normal question that anybody that's worth their weight and wants to be credible would be able to pose that question. I don't know.
it's certainly an interesting one. It's just like,
Well, I do know, but I mean,
well, yeah. I mean, it's hard because I don't want to go out and say, because it takes time to evaluate the first draft class. Like Kevin has said it multiple times, it takes 3 years. We're in year 2 of this draft class, and it's not looking great so far. Like Brandon Coleman just being on, being a healthy scratch. Ben Sinnott not getting as much play as you want. Mike Sainer still has had a very far regression so far this year.
Right, it's young.
It's true. We are only a third of the way through the season, and it can turn around. But
Right.
man, some of these issues do not look very fixable. I mean, they're the targeting of Mikey when he's lined up one-on-one with guys that are much taller than him, and he plays like a dog. But man, sometimes you just you need those extra inches. Pause.
But he's been his size most of his life,
It's true.
and his resume is pretty bright. So that's what
And it
I don't
is.
buy any of that. It works in tandem. Corner play, pressure on the quarterback.
For sure.
If you don't have none, just say there's 7-on-7. And who wins? That's why I was trying to scream and holler through our training camp when we had some experts giving reports from training camp about 7-on-7 as if they were actually doing play-by-play.
Well, as you know, Doc, that's underwear Olympics.
Oh, I know that. I try to say it as often as possible so those of you listening
Try to remind
that
the
don't
people.
know will know it's fake. It's fake. It's choreographed. Everybody knows where everybody's going. Of course the defense is going to win. It's not even in full pads. And you're not wrong for not knowing that. That's not your business. If you didn't play ever and you don't cover it ever, why would you know? And unfortunately, you get some reckless individuals that are 27 years old, and they start spewing this thing out as if it was something that was real. And then people, they don't know the difference. And all of a sudden, oh, man, our defense. No, come on, Slim. But anyway, now it's on. I like the fact that it's Kansas City. I really do. Because call me today, right here, right now, and tell me if you think the Commanders are going to beat the Chiefs Monday Night Football. And then we'll take it conversation from there. That's why I think it's a great matchup. Because should they pull it off, it'll be almost like one of their signature victories last year. Remember the 6 on the last play? And see, when it works your way, you just embrace it and move on.
It's true.
But you
It's
don't
almost
evaluate it.
It's almost a this should have happened.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, we take it. All of us would do it.
Yeah.
You know, here's the deal. You're walking down the street. There's a $100 bill on the ground. You pick it up. Now, there's some of us that will pick that up, and we might even go to the closest business around or chase some authorities down to actually figure out who might this belong to. That's going to be a small number, but I do believe that's possible. In this case, I didn't hear one phone call where anybody said anything about what happened. They were just glad it happened. And I don't blame them. So was I. But right now, are you built tough enough to be able to withstand if it goes against you? Are you going to quit? Are you going to roll up? What are you going to do? because it's a part of development. And I say this having lost 5 games in a row in this market with Joe Jackson Gibbs in his first year. So I'm not making it up. I'm telling you what I walked, lived through, ran through, died and tried and through. So this is reality. Does it mean our season is over? Not at all. But eventually, this team is going to have to show us who the heck they are. Max, you know who they are? I know Cowboy, he happy. He wants them to stay stuck on where they are right now. And I ain't mad at you, Slim. Had y'all lost? First of all,
it would have been a nightmare.
Because I expected us to beat them.
I would have. Just because I like to rub it in
I
his
just
face.
expected to beat them. But we don't beat them every year. It's like when they came here. I'm still not over last year when they came here and were allowed to wear them white jerseys and they went down and won. And I know I should be more mature. It's a lack of maturity. I claim it. Claim it. No problem. 301-230-0980. DOC in for Coach Sheehan. And I appreciate a lot of you have really caught on well. We had a couple people on Burgundy and Gold today that when they will call him Kevin, we stop him right in the track. Coach.
That's right.
Let's get that straight. And there's so much. I knew that the gambling thing with Kev, what we saw, tip of the iceberg.
Oh yeah. It's
a tsunami coming. No, it's a tsunami. And
a lot of names getting thrown out there.
I hope nobody acts like they're surprised. And it shows us that I would think the lowest amount of athletes that would wager would have been the group that had so much. But that's where I'm turned around on. When we say, and Bugs, I'm with you, dog. And Bugs just said a lot of our fans have been disappointed with some of the comments I've seen on social media. And that's part of fan. You should be. You should be. You're disappointed when your children do things you don't want them to do. But you don't stop loving them. Let's get it straight. You don't quit on them. Anybody that would quit right now on the Commanders was never in on the Commanders. They were imposters. There's no way in the hell you can convince me of that. And you still got a shot. I know some of the experts are already talking. I can't say it without laughing, but they're talking playoffs. And they're trying to give you their feelings as to who will win and who's going to make it and the whole bit. And to some of it, they could be right. Could be. But if you know anything about the schedule, and you do because you follow this, just like I do, we have opponents right now. And why I like this where we're at, because you shouldn't be embarrassed if you don't beat any of the next 3 opponents or 4 opponents. Because self-esteem is important now. See, we were brought out of sewage last year. It's not like we weren't deserving of it, but let's be real, man. This was a trash organization. It was a trash team. In last place far more than you've ever been in first. And all of a sudden, bingo. I don't care how old you are. We all like a little bit of magic. We do. It's just you like it. If not, you wouldn't be so paralyzed by fireworks and things. Some of about us, we just like it. But you haven't thought about, we won 6 in the last second. Suppose you lost 6 on the last play of the game. Would it crush you, or would you be able to build on it and bounce back? You were all in the front row buying gear. You were singing. You were doing the fight song. You were all in. Was it just because they won, or because you bleed burgundy and gold? That's the question where I challenge a lot of you young people.
I think that's fair.
Fair or not, that's what it is. So respond. You tell me, because I think we got a shot. We're still in the thing. What is the thing? Is it the East? Is it to make the playoffs? That's what I'm saying. What is it?
Well, so it right now, I mean, the path forward, looking at it, going forward, gotta win. It's gonna come down, like I've said, to these last 5 games. I mean,
Who'd
you got.
say it to? Rooster?
I said it to Kev.
Okay,
I've
okay,
said it to Kev. I've said it to Rooster. It's gonna come down to this. These last few games, because you got what? It's Giants, Eagles, Cowboys, Eagles to close out the season.
Who do you think Rooster's going to take in the Giant game?
Gee, I wonder. But yeah, it's just going to come down to those games, man. I mean, right now you're 1-4 in the NFC, so you're not going to win any of these tiebreakers to sneak into some wild card spot right now.
Mm-hmm.
So it comes down to the division. You've got to win that division. You've got to win your divisional games. You can't drop one like they did last week to the Cowboys, which is why I think it makes it so much more infuriating, because that was one that, while Jaden was missing his top 3 receivers, sometimes you gotta need the kid to put on the cape, but it's also unfair to ask him to do that more often than not, because he's only one guy and only one guy can have so much effect on a football game. Now that depends on week to week, but man, it's just, you can't drop divisional games like that. You can't get doubled up by a divisional rival. So going forward, you got to win these games. I mean, I've said that over and over, but this next Giants game is not a cakewalk. Dallas, you got to get your lick back at home. That's going to be on Christmas. That's just going to be a weird vibes game. But when you got these next 3 games in front of you, where it's 3 very, very strong offenses in the Chiefs, the Seahawks, and the Lions, and this defense can't buy a stop, man.
Say that again.
Doesn't look good.
Who's the next people lined up? Say it again.
You got the Chiefs, Seahawks, you got the Lions. And then you travel to Madrid, take on the Dolphins, and anything can happen overseas.
Well, the trip alone, you got to play the trip.
Right, exactly.
So you got to play 2 opponents.
Exactly.
See, it's the trip. And I know a few people going to be on that trip, and I'm just telling you, the trip.
Whole lot of people around here.
And then the opponents.
Yeah.
And that, I'm more concerned about that game than I am Kansas City game. I feel better about us against the Chiefs than I do the Dolphins.
That's interesting. That's a take. That's a take, Doc.
Truth, because I don't trust them. How could you trust them?
That's fair.
Why, you think they're better than the Dolphins?
The record would indicate such.
Okay. What do your eyes tell you?
If they got Jaden, yeah.
They've had Jaden this year.
If Jaden plays in Miami, yes. Okay. If Marcus Mariota plays in Miami, I think as long as he has a healthy receiving core like he may this week, yes.
You know what I like about Thursday night football?
What do you like about Thursday night football, Doc? Not many people do like anything about it.
I don't like the technology, but I'm stuck with it.
Fair.
But again, I used to also drive a car, then I had to roll the windows up.
Yeah.
So I always have to remind myself that one day we're going to be able to stop that, rewind it, move. It's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Just got to wait it out. But I just love the fact that whenever Jim is coaching, I already know what's going to happen. 42 runs. Now, I was like, that to me is like symphony orchestra playing at its best. He has an advantage, and he never lets you up. He strangles you, then he kicks you in the head until his boot goes through your brain. I know that's that's awful. Sounds bad. But you know what?
That's football.
That's football. And when he got Alt back, getting Alt back was like getting the Heisman Trophy winner to most people. I knew for him, it was a hammer. It was a hammer. 42 times. Can you imagine us running 32 times?
It'd be nice. Nice to get Bill that many touches. You kidding me? Get Bill 200 yards on 30 touches?
Oh, my goodness. I sit back and think, what if? Man, how good would that be? What's the odds of that happening?
If you're in Cliff Kingsbury offense, they're slim.
Well, no. And I like him. I mean, he's shown me that he's got a gift. He's got a gift. But I just don't know if there's enough pepper in his grits in order to get this job done. Sam Cosmi, guy comes back, been out a year, major injury, comes back and plays the entire game. Now, that is a pure savage. No camp, No nothing, and just
3 weeks of ramp up, and yeah,
ramps him up.
back right out there.
Stone cold killer. So that meant I thought, wow, we're going to even get better with our biggins up front,
That was the hope.
but we didn't lean on them.
Didn't work great.
No, we didn't lean on them. I'm hoping that we will down the road. Yeah, I really am. But let's take a break. 301-230-0980. Coach Sheehan is out DOCTHing from my brother, and we got a lot to talk about because it's the Chiefs in prime time. I think it's a great game. I'm glad we're playing them and not the Dolphins. Stay with us.
All righty. And before we hit that break, I do want to tell you guys about Window Nation. I know things are tough right now for some folks in the DC area, especially with the government shutdown. If you've been impacted, Window Nation wants to help. Right now, buy 2 windows, get 2 free, and make no payments and pay no interest for 2 full years. That's real relief and a great way to make your home more comfortable before winter hits. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and thousands of satisfied customers right here in the DMV, you can trust Window Nation to take care of you and your home. So don't wait. Visit windownation.com before October 31st to get started. Window Nation, quality windows, flexible financing, and comfort you can count on.
I mean, we'll get her updates. Any sound you got, we'll play whatever we got.
Yeah, I got all of them.
Okay.
I got all of them.
He talks way too much.
Who?
DQ.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because now that shit works if you're winning. thing clear. Brother Sheehan is out, and there's a rumor that he interfaced with G from the shop yesterday. I will not be able to declare whether that's true or not, but if he hooked up with G from the shop, then yeah, thank goodness it's Friday, or he might miss a little bit more time. Tim out in Connecticut, welcome to the Sheehan Show, DOC.
Doc, great to hear your voice. Always love your perspective. I'm really curious why the team is having trouble reestablishing the team identity. You know, this is a second year, basically the whole coaching staff returning, all the main players returning, all the leadership people returning, and yet they're struggling in that department just by their own admission yesterday in the press conference. Why do you think that's happening? And then a follow-up, why is this offensive line supposedly the real strength on the team? Why aren't they always clicking? They're more off and on, and why can't they establish that consistency?
Well, there are a lot of different players coming in and out. You just got Cosby back for the first time all year. It's never the same team. Last year's team is gone. It's a whole new team. And they have a lot of young players, and not all of those guys have been baptized. They haven't been allowed to play, in my opinion. Every game has its own personality. And there are reasons why we probably should have performed better. But if you don't, and you don't react to it, what's your reaction? If a guy gets beat on a pass play, if a guy gets beat on a run play, what's your reaction to it? I'm still waiting to find out what the reaction is. And you've had some injuries. And your most spirited player, your real team leader, hadn't played almost all year in Terry McLaurin. So if you pull leadership out, then you got rid of some people that were really good that are on other teams this year. This is not that hard to understand why their record is what it is. Make sense?
I appreciate that, Doc. Thank you.
You got it, brother. All right, Kansas City. I knew we'd hear from him. I've been waiting on him. JYD, welcome home.
What's up?
Been
How
waiting
you
to hear
doing?
from you. I'm doing fantastic.
Well, it's this time of year you get the fans and the team is getting the early Christmas gift, and the coaching staff and the general managership will also get a Christmas gift because you now get a chance to take out your notepads and take some notes on what a real champion looks like. Or whatever. And when I look at I've been on both sides of the fence. I know whatever. I hear all the fans. I hear the fans that are unhappy with the team right now, with the Commanders right now. You don't have to stay. You don't have to stay. You don't have to put yourself through the ringer all the time. There's 31 other teams out there. Or whatever. You know, I went through the same ringer. And then I finally decided I ain't gonna do that no more. Whatever. But what I do look at is that I was pulling for you all and fighting for you all last Sunday, and it didn't happen. But I will say this. I don't understand why every time you say you want to be this, but you don't want to do anything to change the results. And when I say that, I looked at the Detroit Lions last week, and they was playing Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
And they didn't have right, but they didn't. But on defense, they didn't have nobody in their secondary. Everybody that they had was either hurt or I think it was one guy might have been suspended for what happened last with the Chiefs.
Yeah, it's not much different than a year ago.
Right. But what
49ers,
I do know
same
is
thing
that,
too.
right. But everybody was hurt in their secondary.
Yeah.
And their general manager obviously went out and got 4 or 5 other guys, and they played like vicious dogs. So so it makes me wonder, why in the hell doesn't the general manager here, how come he can't go out here and get some of these guys off the scrap heap?
Yes, a question
That's what makes me wonder.
a little bit more geared for the offseason. Appreciate your call, though. And your point is valid. I mean, we act like we can't get people to change the direction they're going in. And maybe we can say it's too soon. That's why I'm glad we play the Chiefs. I'm glad we're playing a team that's way ahead of it. And other than friends and family, who really thinks that the Commanders are going to beat Kansas City? Lap, you're next here on the Sheehan Show with DOC. Lap, going once.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Hello?
Lap, we got you. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I said good show as always, Doc. Yeah, I want to see where we stack up at, man. You know, that's why I wanted this tough schedule. When you win, you get a tough schedule the next year.
Exactly.
So we have to have a consistent win, you know, every season so we can get these upper echelon teams. You know, teams is better than us or somewhere in the mix to see where we stack up.
Well, they may have a better roster. They may have an edge on certain things. Being better is determined when the contest starts.
True that. But what I'm saying is, like, we'll know where we stack up at. You know what I'm saying?
Well, we don't know because we talk. We don't do what we say we're going to do. Our bark has been a lot bigger than our bite.
Well, we got to come out with a sense of urgency, man, and fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, I tell the young guys I play ball with, I say, man, y'all can play. Y'all good, but y'all ain't got no dog. Y'all too quiet for me, man. I need a bunch of Westbrooks on my team. You know what I'm saying? That's what I be telling them, man. Yeah.
Well, good
so
stuff,
we need
man.
some Westbrooks, some mama mentality out there.
Yeah,
Doc.
appreciate that. Jonesy, you are next. Thank you, lad. Appreciate that. Jonesy, what up?
See, Doc, I'm going to be honest with you. I would be scared to take Junkyard Dog with me to a barroom fight because he just might change it up side. But that's all right.
Well, but he was always he's Kansas City. He's never shied away from the fact that he's a defect, that he quit on one organization and went to another one. And that other one is hit the jackpot.
Exactly. I'm just saying, you know, I've been with the Burgundy and Gold way back in the day, 74, 75.
Right.
I ain't going nowhere yet. There ain't another team in the daggone NFL that I would want to head
Well, that's
on
how
to
you're wired.
because
Everybody's
they
not wired that way.
That's true, too.
Most people
That's
take
true,
the
too.
convenience out.
Indeed.
Yeah.
But I'll just say this, man. As far as my offense go, I feel like eventually they're going to come together and figure it out and get it together. And
You
win.
feel that way or you hope? Because I don't know how you can feel a way. I don't know how you can feel something you haven't seen. You can hope for stuff you haven't seen.
My defense. My defense has got me biting on my fingernails.
Yeah.
I don't know what to expect. I mean, you know, when that opposing quarterback is calling for the ball, and I got my my cornerback communicating with the safety or linebacker. Hey, what are we running? Oh, that just burns me up, Doc. I got to see something different than that.
Yeah.
They got to change that up. That's what they got to change. It's the players. They got to get that together. Other than that, I'm going to look from what I see on Monday, and I'm going to get back with you.
I appreciate that. We got Donna Hopkins coming at the top of the hour. She's going to give us some insight, stilettos on the ground.
Hopefully she can help me out.
Yeah, I hope so too. Max, I think that people, sometimes when I hear our fan base, I think we're talking about two different topics.
I mean, it depends on who you're talking to, because this fan base is, and Kevin and I have talked about it kind of off air. The bipolarness.
He'd really appreciate if you refer to him.
Is coach. You're right.
Okay, thank you.
But we've kind of talked about it off where it's just the bipolar attitude with this fan base is it exemplifies the 25 years of darkness that has finally been lifted. And I think people are still trying to find they don't want, it's a comfort being bad because you don't have to emotionally invest yourself as much. It's a way to protect, kind of shield yourself from the feelings. And so when something goes wrong, you immediately jump off or find a reason to jump ship. And I think that's kind of what a lot of people are dealing with right now with how it looks. It doesn't look good, but at the same time, you're still a fan of this team. You're not going to jump off I'm not jumping off the wagon. I would never do that. Like, that's just not how I was raised. But there's always next season. But this season ain't lost either.
We're still in.
It's still now.
The
There's still opportunity in front of you.
Lots of it. Don't let that big fella tell you that you don't have a chance.
No, I would never. There's always a chance, especially when you got 5. But at the same time, I'm not blind. I watch the games. I've seen this defense. It does not look good.
5 is human too.
It's true. It's
See,
true.
People talk about him like he's a superhero.
Because he was last year.
Well, no, he made some heroic plays. He's human.
Yeah.
He's human. He needs them like they need him. And the best is going to be yet to come, but he still needs his body functional.
Yeah.
So he can be that dude.
Right. And that's the important thing right now is keeping him healthy.
You don't want to see him press.
Well,
you don't want to push him into the point where, because you haven't seen that. But he's human. And so that's why I'm just pushing run, baby, run. Get this dude a chance to settle in.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. That's why we do this, because we love the interaction with it. Bonesy. Is Bonesy back in play here at 301-209? Okay, here we go. Brother Sheehan is out. You know who's in, the DH. What's going on?
Hey, what's going on, big brother Doc? My main man, shout out to Max. Shout out G from the shop, Jonesy, all the K9s, man. Man, look, keep the faith, man. Y'all hang in there, man. We burgundy and gold till we get old, man. Simple as that, man. You got to take the bitter with the sweet. Hang on in there, man. We're going to take this thing one game at a time. Simple as that, man.
I hope so.
I love you, Doc. Thanks for taking my call, man.
Thank you,
Peace.
brother. Thank you. Oh, my God. Oh, my goodness. Neil from Rockville, I almost called him attorney. He didn't like him when I refer to him as a professional. He wants to just be one of the guys. It's always good to hear from him. Good to see. Again, this is my brother Sheehan, man. He hangs around a good group. And that's what it's truly all about. Do you have anything to say about the Wizards? I got to make sure I mention
they defensively not great. That's kind of my take. I mean, the first half last night, they couldn't really they didn't really do a good job at covering anybody, but they did start to lock down in the second half, but I mean, the damage was mostly done by then. But I think a lot of this young core, I mean, it's going to take time, of course, but I'm excited. I'm excited for the future. I think they're going to be okay. I think the kids are going to be all right. I like Keyshawn a lot. Keyshawn George is really, really good. But it's just
it's
going to take some time.
The NBA, it's almost like the NFL when I look at it and go, you either draft a game changer. When you get a game changer, it changes your program. Wembanyama, if you saw what Wemby did, that's what, to me, the draft identifies. And when you see Wembanyama, then you know we don't have one of those. You drafted pretty high. Which you were high as what, 2? There's a jump between 2 and 1. When I watch Wemby, I think, wow, now I get what everybody talks about, the lottery and what that means and what it morphs to. It also shows me what you don't have. You don't have an alien. You tried. You're in the attempt to. So what happens? Are you going to develop a team concept now to make up for it? What happens when you have to go against one? Watching OKC going back to back. Who predict? I don't even know if Kevin could have predicted that. OKC going beyond the limits, back to back. But what do they have? Now, everybody talks about press, how he builds a team. Look who he has. He's got an alien that's not even playing, that has not even suited up. But he's got more than one. Some have none. I am just dying to see where this is going. I think it's pretty easy now to see in the NBA. You either have one or you don't. NFL, the NFL, you got to have one on each side of the ball if you're lucky. Now, Dallas didn't think they needed one. They had one on defense, and they opted him out. Now they're in close to – are you in last place defensively? I think Dallas is now holding up last place defensively, and they got rid of the alien that they had. Show me how you can win without one. That's what I want somebody to do that to me. Let's go back to the lines, 301-230-0980. Is that Samaj?
Yes, sir.
Hey, what's up, baby?
What's going on, Doc? You know, anytime you're on the air, I'd like to get in and get a call and get some love. Thanks for taking my call, Max. Appreciate y'all. Well, Doc, I'm you know, a lot of the talk so far have been general, so I want to get right specific to it. My fangs is out. I'm on dog time, so I want to ask you a dog question. Big bro, what is your take on the defense and in combination with that and Joe Witt being the play caller? Please give me a Doc Walker, professional, experienced, tenured opinion. Thank you, bro. Thanks for taking my call. Appreciate y'all.
You got it. I can't believe he didn't check a brother out on X because I say the same thing all the time. Your eyes don't lie. I'm a Lattimore guy. I'm not clowning Lattimore like I hear a lot of our professionals are. It's clearly they've never been on the field having to cover somebody that was bigger, stronger, and faster than they are. The fact that he's as close as he is to me is remarkable. It's remarkable. You get a pass rush and then judge a corner. You got to tackle better. We're just outmanned sometimes in nickel because we don't have the personnel to run with certain people. And they know it. They don't put people in that can run. So I don't have any sympathy for them because they're doing it to themselves. This is sabotage. You can do whatever you want to do to yourself. But don't tell me, I heard you all camp talking about these athletic freaks you had on defense. I didn't expect them to come in and run over guards, but I expected them to cover backs out of the backfield, tight ends, and underneath coverage. They don't get in the game. So how can you evaluate them? So if you want to get bludgeoned and just take it and you staying stubborn, then deal with the results of it. I'm not gonna overcoach that. I'm not going to disrespect your authority. I trust in you. So I'm going to watch you do this to yourself because I have no way to explain it. It's clear as day that if they don't go zero blitz on most of these situations, they have no chance of getting there. Now, if you got a better remedy to it than I do, holler at me. 301-230-0980. TC at MD. What's up?
Hey, what's going on, Doc? Thanks for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
Doc, you my man. You a man. I was saying that I'm older than you. I'm back in the George Allen days.
Oh yeah, you
know
got
what I'm saying? Before you even got there.
Yeah.
Before your time.
Right.
So I bleed it.
You're
I'm Larry
original.
Brown and all that back
Yes,
there.
yeah, Charlie Haraway. Yeah.
Yeah, that's me.
That's
That's
Jerry
me.
Smith. Yes.
So I'm here from a long time, and I hear these fans, and I hear commentators y'all talk this and y'all talk this and about this and this and this. The deal is a lot of times it's about the organization and who they actually bringing into camp. Preseason and before the training camp, everybody pumping them up, what they got to do in the defense. The defense on the real, Doc, was trashed last year and it's trashed this year. It never has improved. If you put the defense, just the defense on the defense, what they had last year and what they had this year, it ain't changed. There's no dogs on the defense. A dog is something that's consistently a dog. Fred Warner and the 49, those are dogs. You got to have a dog that's consistently.
Come on now. Fred Warner might be the best in the game. It's kind of hard to compare.
But still,
most people. Yeah, I see what you're saying. But that's the top.
You got to have a dog that's consistent.
I'm with you.
You got to have a dog consistent. You can't have a dog that show up one game and then miss like 8 games.
No, that's not. And if it is a dog, it's a house. It's a house dog.
That's a poodle.
Right.
Poodles do bite. These cats we got don't even bite. So my point is, Adam Peters and company, they knew when they came in that you got to get a dog on defense. You drafted a beast of a quarterback, whatever the case may be, from the book, but he was Superman last year. This year he ain't Superman because they got kryptonite on him. It happens. You got to have something behind, some other super friends. We don't have no more super friends to go with this dude. See, and that's what they do. They try to just pencil anybody in, and then some of the people come up and say, "Oh yeah, oh we got good defense. They doing pass rush, just like you said. They out there in the Olympic in their shorts and whatnot. That don't mean crap. They was all half not that good in the beginning. They older crew, been on some other teams, then come here. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. When the drafts he had on defense, they may hit, they may not. You know what I'm saying? Right now, Kellen, they ain't hitting on defense. The defensive side of the ball ain't nothing hitting yet. And then now you tell me Dan Quinn and them don't even want to play him? That don't even make sense.
Can only tell you what my eyes tell me. They're not in the game.
Well, if they ain't in the game, then that means it must be terrible evaluation on Adam Peters and company if they can't get in the game. It's some of them guys, the second year of some of them guys, or the first year. By now, you can't get in the game. That is terrible evaluation. And that's another thing. We're giving too much rope to Adam Peters. You draft somebody in the third, fourth, fifth round, and they can't even get in one game to play. They can't even. Come on, Bobby Wagner. I love Bobby Wagner. He old. He can't cover. And you can't put nobody out there who can cover? Come on, man. That's what I'm saying, Doc.
It makes you scratch your head. And they might say that's the best they have. And you're saying a lot of things I'm saying. I'm just asking the questions. I'm not going to go over your head. It's your team. You're with them every day. But you're telling me, obviously, what you see at practice doesn't turn you on. So you seem reluctant to put people in the game. Only time will tell. I'll tell you what, playing Kansas City on Monday night, you ain't going to have a choice. You're going to have to keep people fresh because it's ones versus ones. And we know what their ones look like. Appreciate the call. Oh, no. Is this really G from the shop or an impersonation?
It is, but we got Donna coming up here.
Okay.
So we're short. We're a little short on time, but I mean, I know G's listening, and I know G will hold, and I'll apologize to him personally here in a second.
Stilettos, then we go. We got to serve time for you, G. We can't just throw you in there on a quick clip.
Yeah, I want to give G his moment.
Let's do that. Let's do that. Pay some bills, come back. Donna Hopkins, and then G from the shop. He is awake, and we don't want to waste a second of his time. Stay with us. She's going to be later. So we'll do her after that. Or we can take Welcome back. This is the Kevin Sheehan Show, DOC. DHing for the coach. Pardon me. We expect to hear from DQ from the park. In the meantime, G from the shop was nice enough to hold on through. And Donna Hopkins is a part of that interview process. So, G, good to hear your voice, man. I'm sure Coach Sheehan will be disappointed that he missed you.
Oh, no, he ain't missed me. Man, I told him not to hang with me last night, and he ain't
Why'd
listen.
you do that to him?
So no, he did it to himself. Pause. He did it to himself. I gave him a warning, but he signed off on the waiver.
Okay.
So it's all on him now. You got Donna Hopkins coming up. Man, she is top tier, Doc. Top tier. All the Sheehan's guests be top tier too. But I know Donna, shout out Mac the Sack, man, because I know Donna come on off the strength of Doc Walker. You know what I'm saying? But hey, Doc, you said something about character, about finding $100 on the ground and searching business. Yeah, I remember I found a wallet with about $300 in it. And I searched for this person for like 3 months and finally got in touch with him. He lived all the way in New Jersey and got him his wallet back, man. But
you know what? And I believe that. I believe that. Seriously. I believe that.
No, it's a fact because I was raised proper.
Yeah.
But if I find 100 just laying on the ground, I'm not searching any business or anybody for it. That's finders keepers. And you know what I would do with that $100, Doc? I would bet it on the smell test. I would put $100 on the smell test because the public is hammering Kansas City. And I'm telling you now, that's my smell test pick. If you want to make some money, double up, go with us with the points. But if you really want to jump out the window, like I'm going to this weekend and put my Americans on, Washington money line, because we're going to beat the Chiefs.
So you're going with that out of conviction. You know what? I can understand it's a bold statement. And especially how Kevin goes after it. His approach, that's what's sound, is tested over the years. I'm strictly looking at this, and I'm saying that this team has not demonstrated to me that they are consistent enough to extend drives or stop drives by one of the best operations on the planet. So the only reason I could pick them would be that out of sympathy, but I'm just not going to do that. I'm going to keep it real.
Nah, it ain't sympathy.
That's the only way I could do it.
If you felt bad for them, just keep your money in your pocket. And
I wouldn't put a dime. Oh, hell no. No. I forgot. You mentioned wagering. No. No, that's y'all. You got to be a special individual to do that, play that game that way. And I'm not built for that.
Hey, Doc, I know one thing. I will travel out to L.A. if I find out Gilbert Arenas snitched on my man Sheehan with this betting probe, man, because we're going to whoop Hibachi ass.
No, I'm with you. If he got Kevin involved, no question. Look, anything's possible. First thing I thought of, oh, no, I hope my boy's clean of this. But I said, we don't know. We don't know. I'm telling you what, though, just the whole idea of this poker thing and people putting surveillance glass and the technology.
X-ray tables.
I mean, this is kind of like it's Dick Tracy type investigative.
It's Ocean's 11.
No,
you're right.
It's insane, Doc. You know why it's insane? Because me and you done grew up on oodles and noodles and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Yeah,
man,
sardines.
You grew up cutting the grass with a push lawnmower. We used to the struggle. I don't understand any multimillionaire betting $1 of their hard-earned money, because once you done got that many millions, there's no need to bet anymore.
Yeah, but that's what it says, a disease. If you could,
but you can make more, G.
Yeah. If
I can make more millions with my millions.
Exactly. I mean, that's
but
why.
You know what else I
the
could
disclaimer.
Do? If I had the millions, I would never have to scratch and claw to find no weed money. That's why I wouldn't bet. I'm not messing up my number one thing, and we got to make sure the lettuce is in the refrigerator.
I'm with you, but it happens with such frequency. I don't think anybody signs up and says, I choose to be an alcoholic.
Yeah, you're right.
Or I want to be hooked on nicotine.
Well, the number one thing is you would catch me on a current affair or 60 Minutes, because I would be probably caught with a large amount of marijuana and a few midget prostitutes, maybe.
Yeah, well.
But I'm not betting no money if I got millions.
And that's why I couldn't miss TNT last night. I said, because when Barkley and him and Kenny, and they were heated, and to Charles's credit, because he's a big player, and he said, hey, I gamble. And I understand that. They're playing at a different level, man. They're playing at a level that you can't understand it.
Hey, Doc, one level that I do miss, and I wish my man had been here to see what Wemby did the other night.
Yeah,
because my man Paulie called him the problem. Wemby put on a show.
Yeah.
And shout out always, rest in peace, Coach Butch McAdams, because he would have had joy talking about that big fella.
And he does, man. I look at a picture of Coach every day. And it reminds me to never come in here, never do this without the excitement that this brings, because that was Butch.
Excitement, energy, and guess what?
Yeah,
always
just the fact that how lucky you are to be in this position to do this. I mean, it's like the guys that gamble, the people that are millionaires. I think people say that's easy. You can't speak on it because you ain't been about it. But the key word is that addiction, and we're not going to do anything really to solve it, because there may not be a solution, because there's a profit to be made in it. One thing we know in this country, there are a whole bunch of things that go and make you scratch your head, but they continue to go on. And this, to me, blew my mind that we were actually talking about organized crime, something this laid out with this many layers in it. And the only thing that's going to happen is that until somebody gets hurt physically, these guys are making a mistake of their life. But then again, they may not be the first crew to do this. But I recommend you run. Easier said than done. But this is a level that you don't want to play at. I'm just saying. I would recommend you run. Run from this. If you got a family member that's playing and they that hooked up on it, you need to send them to rehab on your own money. You need to do anything you can to get them out. Because when they start talking about organized crime, Slim, you're not built for this. You're not built for it. This is not NIL. This ain't okay. This is real serious. So I wouldn't even joke about it. Wouldn't joke about it. Donna Hopkins is going to join us, get a little bit of an update. Yeah, I think let's try her and see if we can get her on now that all the people in power.
Since all the pressers have kind of
all
wrapped.
the people in power have spoken. I love the power play. And is that big guy? Is he out at the park today? We have to check on that. Cowboy.
I have no idea if Big Fella's out there.
Okay.
Pretty sure he's got to do a show for.
Well,
but he's got time.
He's kind of a big thing now, so if we can get Donna on, and we'll continue to got to have a game plan. You may think it's crazy, but I'd rather go big game hunting than to be out fishing in a pond. Well, I'm gonna catch a guppy. Let's go. Okay, let's go big game. Speaking of big game hunter, she's kind of a big thing herself. Donna Hopkins, it's got to be a crazy week for you because it's Chiefs week. It's not like we haven't played them. We played them. But the expectations now, things are a little different. We are clearly, most people are the underdog when you play the Chiefs. Clearly underdog. with a little bit of a cloud hanging over our program. Where are we right now? What's your gut tell you? Are we stable or unstable?
Well, I know, Doc, this is yet to be seen as far as how stable this team is. But one thing about it is yesterday at practice, I surely saw a lot more energy yesterday. It's almost like they went back to training camp and started doing some of those same old drills over that brought up the intensity and everything. I saw a different atmosphere out here at practice, and it was good to see Terry and Debo at practice, and I watched them closely as far as how they ran, how they moved and everything, because I'm trying to, look at with my eyes as far as is it limping, is it anything going on, but it was a breath of fresh air to see both of those two guys out there, and if they can come back this week, they're going to help out that offense tremendously, because I think they're going to need to have all hands on deck. I saw Bill Crosby Merritt put in some extra work with Anthony Lynn, and I was talking to him a little bit after practice about, hey, what did he have you doing as far as I saw some blocking drills and some different stuff like that. So they're putting in the extra work, and I think the detail even more work to get better, because I asked Coach Quinn yesterday, I said, hey, are you looking to possibly, after analyzing the last 7 games, of maybe scaling back or simplifying some things? And he said that that's what they were looking at, that they were looking at plays that they could possibly say, well, that didn't work, so let's put that on the shelf and move on. So they are actually diving in a little deeper to try to figure out how to get this ship back on course and in the winning column. And they're going to have a tough task this week against Patrick Mahomes and that crew that's playing much better because they got all their healthy bodies back, Rice and all of those guys. And Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. But I do like what I'm seeing in this week out here at practice with this team.
I want to be real sure about this next statement I'm going to make, because it seems like I've heard that before.
Yep.
I think I've heard reports, whether it's you, whether it's Big Mitch, whether it's Big L, whether it's Grant Paulson, whether it's any of the people I'm listening very, very clearly. And I'm hearing a good report for the day or some kind of inspirational spark. Well, I'm numb to all that now. See, I was following all that because I saw the results it generated. I'm not happy with what I've seen lately. So I don't have, and I'm no longer I don't even seek verbal response. There's nothing they can say to me all week that'll push me off my position. Because once I lose trust in your ability to do what you say you're going to do, the only way you earn that with me is to do it. If they'd have put tape over their mouth and canceled the press conference this week, I'd have stood up and gave them a standing ovation. Because I'm not interested in hearing nothing you got to say. What I'm interested in seeing is, can you generate results with your leadership and your presence? And if you can't give me results on that, then we'll part ways. Because I'm never going back to that. Because I need to see something, not hear something. You're talking to now. If they did that, they got you excited today with practice. So that's telling me you hadn't seen that level before.
Not for a while, Rick. And okay. I think you hit it. It does not matter about how much we talk about this, how much they say, because we heard it all before. It comes down, if anybody ever played sports or whatever, it comes down to you changing things up, that you go out and do what you say, go out and clean up things. I mean, if you're making the same mistakes over and over again, the key thing is you got to clean up those mistakes where
why are you still in the game?
Forward.
Why are you still in the game? Why did they run it like they don't have a 53-man roster? They run it like they got a 33-man roster.
Yeah, I think we're going to see some new bodies inserted in there, because it is time to look at what is not working? I mean, that's the bottom line. It shouldn't take 2 losses to realize that, but sometimes it takes a shakeup. I think about that Cincinnati game last year when they were on a skid, and then things started turning around. It's a little different this year because of the injuries, but it's no excuses because everybody across the NFL has had major injuries to their team. But it comes down to execution, changing up some things that may not be working, like Coach Quinn was talking to me about. Okay, changing up these things is not working, and let's figure out we're going to do this. If that doesn't work, we keep changing until we put our foot on what is going to work for this team to move forward. These bodies back is going to be key. I know that Bobby Wagner talked to the team, and you need those leaders to step up because sometimes when you have younger players, they may not understand the scope of, hey, we're in a hardship right now, is what Coach Quinn said, a hardship. So a hardship is whatever it takes, I'm going to have to do it. You can't worry about feelings or anything like that. It's got to be hardcore right now as far as what you do on this field. It doesn't matter about what you do at practice, but they did say you play like you practice. So if you're putting in the work, and that's what I'm seeing this week, if you're putting in that kind of work, it should be seen on Sunday, no matter who the team is on the other side.
So, Donna, there's been one thing that's kind of been consistent in Joe Witt's pressers throughout kind of this season, especially with the downturn the defense is taking, and it's communication. He said earlier in his press conference today about Will Harris being one of the better communicators in that secondary, and his loss has kind of been key. So have you seen anything out there in practice that would give you an indication as like kind of steps forward in that process of communication throughout from the defense?
Yeah, you know what? It's funny that you call out Will Harris's name because I was talking about him about 3 weeks ago, losing Wise and how that changed up the defense and everything because he is a good communicator. But when you don't have that type of guy, you've got to be able to pull on somebody else that can communicate the things. And that's, to me, is the debacle right now as far as what we're seeing in the secondary. So I'm not sure how to answer that question for you because I'm sure if they had the answer, all of us would be talking about that because my thing is somebody else, the bottom line, has to be able to step up because they're talking about other guys that are good communicators too. And I know that Will made things happen because of his veteran leadership coming in here and what that happened. But you got guys that are not old to the system and everything. I mean, the Quan Martins and all of those, they raved about him last year about,
even coming into the season too.
Yeah, and coming into this season. So we've got to see this from some of the other guys. But I'm not for sure what the answer is because that's what the area I said that the explosive plays and some of the same things I'm seeing week in and week out. That means that you have to quickly not be thinking. I mean, I think that they're thinking too much and not reacting because when that ball is snapped, you shouldn't be looking at each other. You should already be reacting. And I think if you really look at things, when that ball is getting ready to be snapped, they're still talking. The communication should already be resolved at that moment unless a play is being changed at the line of scrimmage or anything like that. But you should be dead on looking at that quarterback and that offensive line as far as reacting quickly and not still trying to figure out what you're supposed to be doing. That's where I see the breakdowns is in the communication part because that's been the key thing all season long, communication. Well, I don't understand how it's still happening.
Yeah, it is. Makes you scratch your head a little bit, but it's also the pressure of a game and the pressure you put on yourself to be great. These kids don't want to disappoint anybody.
No.
Everybody knows that, and we definitely know it because we went through all of the heartache up until last year. So maybe you pressure a little bit, press yourself just a little bit. I'm glad it's the Chiefs. I'm glad they're playing somebody that, other than friends and family, nobody's going to pick them unless they're trying to get attention to themselves. But it doesn't mean they can't win. And that's what they've got to prove. We need to find out the story for this year's team. It's not last year's storyline. It's this year's storyline. And I just wish they would be allowed to do that. And if we get some people back, then that'd be great. If we don't, game's still going to be played. And it's an opportunity for somebody else to step up. And I just don't feel that. I don't feel like these young people are being allowed to fly. It's like we're trying to predetermine the outcome. It's not going to happen. It's going to happen like it did last year. Who planned that last year?
Yeah, Rick, what I want to see is what I got out of the locker room yesterday is after Bobby, and you will know playing the sports on the top level, Rick, is that sometimes when you put so much pressure on yourself, it's overwhelming. And instead of just having fun and relaxing, I can remember my basketball coach, I was in a shooting slump in college, and he said, he put me on the second team in practice. And he got in my ear, and I said, that'll never happen again. So sometimes you got to get to the point where you take the pressure off yourself and you start having fun again with the sport that you said that you love. So I think that's what we're seeing is sometimes they're pressing too much because they really want to do a great job.
Yeah.
And yesterday, as Bobby mentioned, in not divulging anything from the players, but the key message was, let's get back out to having fun.
Good.
Fun and playing the game, and hopefully we'll see that trickle down, because I think a lot of people was putting so much pressure on themselves that they couldn't have fun in playing the game, and hopefully that'll trickle. I like the odds. I like the fact that people are saying, oh, they can't beat Kansas City. That's just the type of game you go out there and prove people wrong.
I hope you're right. Appreciate that, man. I can tell just hearing your voice, they got to you. Because you believe what you're saying. I can tell.
Yeah.
And I mean, the way they warm up is encouraging. But I don't see enough of it to know I know it's not translating to the game, but I didn't know why. And it's also helps to get, a couple people back, especially a guy that was your spiritual leader. 17. 17. He's the straw that turns the drink. JD5 is miraculous on game day. But I think the constant pressure, the person that you wanted to associate yourself with was 17. And his absence, his silence, his lack of being effective, they could not and have not overcome that. So that's going to be big. That gives them a chance.
Yeah, and get number one back, Deebo Samuel.
Oh, man, yeah, straight K9. And you could see it from day one. You could see it from day one because he had something to prove, chip on his shoulder. And I think that's also could help you out a lot. When you see that old number 78, and I do mean old, Tony McGee, please give him a big hug for me.
I definitely will. I was trying to school him a little bit yesterday.
That's impossible. Old dogs don't learn new tricks.
Hey, Rick, it was hard. You already know it.
I know. Almost impossible. Donna, I appreciate you. Thank you for taking time out.
Always fun.
All right, Donna Hopkins, Skelettos on the field. That's a positive report, fellas. Positive that we heard something decent. Enthusiasm. It doesn't mean X's and O's. I mean, it doesn't mean that they completed practices and passes in practice. What it meant is that they acted like they were thrilled to have a chance to go out and represent the burgundy and gold. That's important. I don't need a lot to be encouraged because I'm not ashamed of them. I'm disappointed in what I've seen, but I'm not ashamed of them. I know that under that uniform, there's a heart. These guys want to be good, but we just can't talk about it anymore. We got to go out and show it. And what better stage? What better stage than the Monday night football stage? I mean, that's all you want. You want everybody watching. everybody listening, and let's go out and find out what you made up. We'll take another break here, 12:24 here in the nation's capital. DOC, the Cowboys been so quiet. Am I going to get any dialogue? I mean, dude, you got to take a victory lap because I would never let you down. I would never back off if it was reversed. Well, you got to take a lap.
He's been taking his laps on the Chris. Have they given you you did your Cowboys minute yesterday?
Russell gave you a shot?
He did give his
I want to
shot.
make sure, do you earn this? And I want you to feel like you can't be yourself.
No, this is I'll tell you, this is Brian being himself. This is him every day.
No, Brian's good, but he's a Cowboy fan. He can't be that composed. He can't be that
he does a really good job at hiding.
He don't
it.
act like a Cowboy fan. Let me tell you that right now.
It's true. It's true.
That's the thing about him that I think it'll be easy for us to get him, is because he's not a typical Cowboy fan.
Listen, I've tried my best. I don't think we can do it. But if you think we can, we can give it a shot.
He is the most. I've never met a Cowboy fan that displays the patience and the control that he has just shown since I've been here. Because I've messed with him every day that I'm here, and he treated me like he wasn't even surprised they won.
He never is, unless they beat the Giants. But
well, their offense is nice.
It was that day.
Yeah, it was that day. But did you talk to him about did you talk to him about Green Bay? Did he see his boy?
Yeah, we did kind of talk about that next morning. He wasn't too pleased, but a tie is better than a loss, I'm sure. I mean, we've been through it. Remember when we tied with the Bengals over in London that one morning a couple years ago?
Dude, couple. It's more than a couple.
Feels like a couple.
Sick to my stomach. And the fly back, that long flight with that feeling was horrible.
Dreadful.
Horrible. And that was the beginning of a pitfall. 12:26 here in the nation's capital. Take a quick break. And we'll come back. We'll just keep playing the hits. And, of course, any of you that have anything good to say about a wager you might have won at the benefit of Brother Sheehan, don't hesitate to give him a shout out. We'll be right back.
Of course, and before we do that, Sports Talk on the Team 980 is presented by Paramount Plus. You can't count on much, but you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. Watch your local NFL game live every Sunday all season long. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today.
record-setting break.
Yeah, a little bit.
To the Guinness Book.
Little bit.
World record.
Yeah, we got the NFL update. That's 2, and then we had 5 minutes of spots. So that was a long one for over here on the Team 980. It's nice to see what they get to experience over there across on the other way.
Oh my goodness, yeah, it's I was sitting there going, I'm uncomfortable with this.
Yeah, I might be able to get a nap off on this one.
It's like Russell with his world famous salads.
Oh my God, he could have fixed an entire salad and downed that whole thing.
Yeah, whole thing
in that break. My God,
I love seeing him. I want him to actually film one of his shows and talk us through that process.
First of all, I need Chris Russell to start streaming on the Team 980 YouTube page.
He's too big for it. First of all,
and then I need a camera that's on him in the break.
Russell,
it's true. I need a camera on him in the break. That's just him eating his lunch.
Yeah, I get the biggest kick out of watching him because he's a celebrity, and when he goes down to 106.7, the Fan and that deal,
everybody flocks.
He's such a big. He's kind of a big thing.
Oh yeah,
and so people are attracted to him like a magnet. I love watching it. I love watching him operate. And then his show is over, and for 2 hours, he's doing another show 10 feet away from you.
Doing the Beltway Blitz,
Whole
and
new thing.
Then he comes out and sits.
I would love to see him filmed. I don't think he sleeps.
Ooh. I think maybe I'll give him 1 REM cycle a night. So that's like 3 hours.
I've seen him. As a matter of fact, I have a photograph. I have a classic photo of him. On the team plane. And it's not the most becoming photo, so I don't share it.
Well,
but he's knocked out.
But you could send it to me.
And it's it shows you how exhausted he is because he's like in between. It's a classic. It's exhaustion at a way I've never seen it before. And that's how much this guy gives, man. He's a giver.
It's true. He is.
Yeah, he's a giver. So it's going to be funny. It's going to be really, really funny. We got Will down in Florida. Well, but Will, have I ever asked you, do you have a relationship with the Gators?
Doc,
Yo.
Can you hear me, Doc?
Now I do.
My friend, thank you for your service as a Redskin fan. And, I watch some of my YouTube videos sometimes. And one of my favorite players growing up was Alvin Walton.
Dirty Al.
That was a dog. That was a dog. Talking about dogs today, I hear the people talking about my old vet friend. I'm 61, so I grew up in Miami and fell in love with the Skins that 71 season Thanksgiving game.
Yeah.
I just fell in love with the uniform, the helmet, and I've been a fan since then. I bleed burgundy and gold. So I'm happy we got a team now, Doc. I'm happy we got a team. And yeah, we're going through the injury Reaper's kicking some debt this year, but we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. I love Dan. I think he's a leader of men, and he'll turn this ship right and snap a few knuckleheads over the head and get them out if they don't want to be part of the unit. But thank you. Tell me a little about Alvin Walton, who he was as a guy before I hang up.
What you saw with Dirty Al is what you got. He was serious about his craft. And he wasn't joking. Practice hard. I love guys that practice hard because they are sold on the eye. Well, first of all, we had no other choice. It may be an option now. I don't know. I can't speak on what they do in practice. But ours was not they didn't ask you if you wanted to or not. And so Dirty Al, they had to stop him from blowing people up at practice. All your hitters always hit. So usually they have to be taken out of drills because it's just not within his DNA for him to not hit a moving object. So some of the real, I call them fools, they just leave him out of that part of practice because they don't know how to not blow people up. And that's why some guys could not play in today's game with these rules. No one's fault. It's just how they were built. Everything wasn't your 40 time. See, these stats aren't anything new. There's always been in stats always were more internalized. But you might hear the term, the guy runs for whatever, but he plays faster. we're too into these measurements. Here's what I want to see. I'm going to measure you in the game. Some guys, they don't even hit that level until they're in a real game. You ever heard of practice players that really do something bad, but then doesn't carry over to the game? That's how gamer comes up. You got to be in the game to become one.
It's true.
So if your evaluator is only looking at you in practice, he may not be confident enough. But based on what I've seen over the past several games, take a shot. Gamble. Gamble with one of these young guys.
Take a shot, man.
Take a shot. Because here's one thing I bet you with. I'll bet you a ham sandwich on this one. They can't be worse than the people that are out there.
Yeah.
And if they are worse and you kept them, that's on you.
There you go.
So I don't see this being a problem. I just see the problem is, do you have the kahunas to execute what should be done? Are you built for this, or do you just sound good? A lot of people sound good and don't look good, don't perform good, but they sound a certain way. And so a lot of people are attracted to sound. I'm not. I need to see some action. And hopefully.
Got nothing to lose, man.
Yeah, well, you do. Your job.
Well.
Yeah, you do have something to lose.
Hey, listen, I don't think Dan's got to worry about that. I think maybe somebody on the defense may have to worry about that, but that's the story for another time. But we'll see. We'll find out kind of how the season goes.
My friend, this is a trend.
That it is.
We're trending in a way that I'm uncomfortable with it.
I am as well. And I know most of the guys in Ashburn are uncomfortable with it as well.
Because and they're not lazy.
No.
This is not a group. This group, but what did Donna say? Eyeball tests.
Mm-hmm. You said your eyes don't lie to you.
Eyes don't lie. And so there's an energy. Also, the Chiefs will do that to you.
Yeah.
If you know the week you're playing the Chiefs, you're thinking, you know what? If I don't put my best foot forward, it may be amputated. I mean, half foot would come back.
Yeah.
So, that's another thing we look forward to. I am excited, but I'm excited more by anticipation than I am desire to see this outcome. I'm anxious to see them from the kickoff or the kickoff return all the way through. Can you imagine if that game was here? How much now that would be pressure.
I mean, the pressure on Christmas.
I don't think there's pressure. No. Against who's your opponent? Dallas. Yeah. They showed you. Wasn't that a big thing to them. We assumed it would be. We talk right, but it's not to them. You can't convince me that was your best effort against, if that was your, quote,
well, I hope
nastiest relationship with somebody. They didn't show that. Did they show that to you?
No, they did not.
No.
No nastiness at all. In fact, pillow fighting.
Right. There you go. Closer to that.
Yeah.
That's scary. Because it wasn't like you watch rivalries in college.
Yep.
You can feel it.
Trying to put your shoulder through the other guy's chest.
Couldn't feel that. That was not. They were our people. That was not Dallas weak to them.
No, it was not.
They were
clearly
just playing the Cowboys in Dallas.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's okay. Maybe that's the way it is for them.
Should it be?
Well, it depends on how you taught. When you indoctrinate. Don't forget the people that coached them were there.
It's true.
That could be uncomfortable. Maybe. How do you explain it?
You got to get the hate train rolling when it's the rivalry week. You just got to. It's just.
Yeah, but if you was the enemy, now you hear, are you capable of generating that?
You better be.
Because they damn sure didn't have that for us. I don't think they did. I don't think they ever do to that level.
No, they don't. They don't think about us that much.
4 people.
It's true.
The Eagles, Giants hate them. Everybody hates them.
Yeah.
So it's hard for them to, I think, pile up on any one group since they're hated by everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everybody wants a piece of the pie.
Everybody, exactly.
Yeah.
So they bring that with, they live with that.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you don't get the big ups and downs, ebb and flows.
It's a lifestyle.
For them, it's every practice.
Yep.
They're never not the number one issue. And that's Jerry. And that's the way they operate, which is really trains them. There's no big moments. They live in big moments. Whereas if you're not like Green Bay, you would think small market, maybe not. They act like that. They have ups and downs. He goes, what? And they got a great home field advantage. They travel well. Cheeseheads don't get the man. They're everywhere, but they're under control. They're not
Occasionally.
jackass. They're not. Well, no, they're really overall.
Yeah.
With that big yellow piece of thing,
It's
on
hard
your
to get
head.
away with stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, trust me, I know. Being a big redhead, it's
but
hard to get away
cheesehead-
with stuff when you're noticeable.
Well, that is true. It's different. But your redhead ain't cheesehead.
That's true. Well,
That's a little
some
bit
of us
different.
can be, but that's
Yeah,
another
so-
story for another time.
The cowboy thing to me has always been intriguing, and that's why I think Jerry. And I did watch the special.
Yeah, you watched the
I watched
doc.
two. I'm not done with it. Highly
Okay.
impressive.
Kevin has said the same thing. I've been
No,
too
don't
blinded
not
by
watch it.
hate.
Don't know. I did too. That was my ignorance.
Yeah. Okay.
I said, why would I invest time in watching the Dallas Cowboys do? And you know what? I learned a lot.
Interesting. All right. All right.
Now I have you have more respect because I love winning. I'm never going to disrespect a winner.
Of course.
A winner. But when you see the vision, I always wondered, why is Jerry so always on the damn sideline? Well, Jerry's a legitimate ex-player. And I hadn't focused in on that.
Mm-hmm.
I just assumed he was a rich guy that went in and, father paid for him to be. No, he couldn't. No, he played. He was actually in there. So I do encourage you on your free time, if you got nothing else better to do, to watch it, because all jokes aside, when you're as vulnerable as they are defensively, and you can win a game in this league, that you got to give them credit.
It's true. You did.
I never thought we'd lose that.
I didn't either for a
I
while.
never thought we'd lose that.
And then ball was snapped.
Well,
and
no, that's because
it
I
changed.
had on fan
The
rims.
fan glasses.
And I said, that's us. That's burgundy and gold. That didn't mean squat in there, because our people, I don't really think they understand the power
Mm-hmm.
of what that burgundy and gold thing means. So maybe that's on us. It is time to take another quick break here, 12:47. Correct time here in the nation's capital. Sheehan is out. He's in good shape. DOC filling in with the fellas and Cowboy Smooth, man. You know what? I've gained so much, even more respect for his class in winning.
He's a classy guy, man.
Class and winning,
Telling
man.
you.
This is. I don't think Rooster's going to be able to break him.
He's tried for many weeks.
Not gonna work.
He's poked and prodded. It just hasn't
Yeah,
worked.
No, it's not going to work. I'm impressed. All right. Stay with us. Be right back.
All right, before we hit that break, I want to talk to you about IHOP, introducing the IHOP value menu, where all your breakfast faves are just $6 each every day. Where else can you get a big, filling, sit-down breakfast for only $6? Go to your happy plates with the $6 IHOP value meal, available every day at IHOP. $7 in some locations. All right, here's what's happening on this Friday, October 24th. Thursday Night Football was last night. The Chargers, they trounced the Minnesota Vikings 37-10. Not a night to write home about if you are Carson Wentz in Minnesota, but the Chargers getting guys to step up with major contributions from Aronde Gadsden, the second and third string running back Kamani Vidal. Again, big win last night for the Chargers. The NBA doubleheader last night with two overtime thrillers. The Pacers kicked off their season against the reigning champ Oklahoma City Thunder, and for the second time in just as many games, Oklahoma City ends up in double overtime, where MVP Shai Gilgeous-Alexander puts up a total of 55 points in a 141-135 win. And the other game, the Warriors, they faced off against the Nuggets. This a battle between Steph Curry and Aaron Gordon, as the two traded deep bomb after deep bomb. Gordon goes 10 of 11 from beyond the arc, putting up a total of 50 points. But the Warriors' big game experience pays off, and they get the win last night in Denver. Plus, the Caps, they get underway against the Blue Jackets tonight. PLD, Pierre-Luc Dubois, may be back, but Rasmus Sandin will miss as he's day-to-day due to an upper body injury. They get going tonight here on the Team 980. That'll be at 6:45. Plus, the Wizards, they take on the Mavs tonight on Bloomberg 99.1. And the Hokies get going on a Friday night football matchup. That'll be on 106.7 The Fan. This update is sponsored by the Team 980 YouTube page. Just open the app, type in the Team 980, hit subscribe. Kevin Sheehan is live every day from 10 to 1. You can catch Denton's office throughout all of football season. Don't forget to hit the like button whenever you do decide to join us, and turn on notifications to stay up to date on all things DC sports And that is what's trending.
$12:53. Welcome back. DOC in for Coach Sheehan. Kevin got first hour in. Then you think they actually flew that helipad to his backyard? He's got that concrete slab.
Yeah, he's.
by the
I know.
pool.
I know he's got one in his backyard, and
Right.
then the roof of whatever office he has, he runs up there, and then
Yeah,
they don't even land. He just grabs onto the ladder, and then they fly by.
I'm not real comfortable with the helicopter move.
I understand why you wouldn't be, because it's very treacherous. There's too much danger involved.
Yeah,
At least for
I've got
me.
a friend, and he won't touch. I mean, it does. I mean, I'm sure they're fine, but that's my least favorite means of transportation.
Helicopter
Would be a helicopter.
Was it? Did the events of February something 2020 have anything to do with that? When Kobe crashed and passed away, or did that
No, well, I see
Was
that
it already before?
having actually been out and seen the pad by his crib
Uh-huh.
where he lives by the beach, and
Yeah.
that's not uncommon. A lot of those guys.
Yeah, a lot of them have
do
that.
it.
Yeah.
So that didn't blow me away. It's no different than a car, really, for them. That's the way they
It's
view
just how they do things.
That's how
Yeah.
they view it. And because of combat and what we've seen through movies and these planes, they've been up there and people are shooting at them.
Mm-hmm.
So if you just drive, maybe it's probably like driving. I don't know. It just, to me, appears that it'd be my last means of transportation if I had options.
For sure.
Yeah, I take it 2 hours longer to get somewhere. I'll do it.
Hey, man. But if you're Sheehan, you're a busy man.
Well,
you got to take what you can get.
A lot of obligations. Yeah,
It's true. It's true.
college, it's because his baby, well, he'll do any game, but college, these rivalries, and really, NIL is starting to have an effect to the point where, like, hoops, St. Mary's can go, and you're not that surprised.
Mm-hmm.
One or two guys. We never thought we'd see it bleeding into college football. I didn't.
Oh,
as quickly as it has.
I mean, man, these kids are signing 6-figure deals and then getting another.
But the teams that we would, Vandy, you're looking up, you're going,
yeah,
Georgia Tech,
Indiana.
Well, Indiana's a superpower.
They are now.
I mean, it's amazing. My boys happened this weekend, and I'm like, it is Signetti, and that's why leadership is so important.
Absolutely.
He didn't just start doing this.
He's been doing this.
JMU. He did this and will continue to do it because he just got that. They used to call it, one of my favorite commercials, always the Midas.
Mm-hmm.
They made you believe what you heard. The touch, the Midas touch. Signetti has that. A lot of people don't have it. As good as James Franklin is, and I think James is a hell of a coach, but he's had a lot of opportunities.
He has.
He hadn't played a game. If he played, he'd probably win. But can you convince those you're in charge of to do their jobs at a level that you get the results? What are we looking at right now? But we also look at this team differently because we're not real honest.
Mm-hmm.
This team is not that talented.
Wasn't last year either.
I had more last year. Yeah, you had more last year. Because your quarterback was better last year than this year's quarterback is. It could be the same guy, but it's a fact.
That's true.
Okay, your receivers, your skill positions have not stepped up like last year's team stepped up. Last year's team was better. Now, you like to say, well, no, what? We're going to be better. We have a model now. We can look at that. You haven't done it. Well, we lost everybody in free agent. You mean you let people go? Well, you mean you didn't bring in better? See, this is where truth to consequences. This is where it comes real. It ain't no lip service. Why aren't you at least as good as you were last year, if not better? That's all I'm saying.
It's a good question.
Well, I don't hear no good answers.
Well, I don't think they have any yet.
What does that mean?
Nobody has any good answers on this.
So what
to
we gonna
fix
do
it
with
yet.
it? What do we do with it?
We got to play it out.
How much time we gonna have to play it out?
Listen, you got Monday night against the Chiefs, and then we work from there.
Okay, all right, I'll take that. If you take that, I'll take that. It's always a blast, dude.
Always, Doc.
Good. God bless all of you. Go Burgundy and gold.